representatives of federations and sport bodies, members of Eminent Persons Group on sports transformation, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Today I'm pleased and delighted to receive the results of the third Eminent Persons Group on transformation in sport report for 2014-2015. This occasion also presents me with the opportunity to pronounce on the transformation barometer as submitted to me by EPG in its dual capacity as an advisory committee and transformation commission. The findings and outcomes of the report are presented to the 19 federations and the South African citizenry for public scrutiny, critical reflections, and flawless execution by our federations and sport bodies. It is my intention to afford an opportunity to all the 19 sporting codes mentioned above to consider the findings and recommendations with a view
That's the African anthem, sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, things of GCIS. we are used of SASCOC. I've written to the 14 additional federations, inviting them to present to me their barometer and prepare themselves for signing memorandum of agreements with the Department of Sports and Recreation South Africa as a matter of agency. These federations and sports bodies are basketball, chess, table tennis, softball, volleyball, boxing, hockey, gymnastics, swimming, baseball, rowing, bowls, jackskey, and tennis. You will recall, ladies and gentlemen, that the transformation status report referred to above covered Athletics South Africa, Cricket South Africa, South African Football Association, Netball South Africa, and the South African Rugby Union. These big five federations provided the EPG Secretariat with information and data that was analyzed and thus enabling the EPG to interpret the data in line with our multi-dimensional scorecard embedded in our transformation charter. It is on this basis that the EPG made its findings and recommendations to the Minister of Sport and Recreation, South Africa. The findings and recommendations were announced at a public event in May 2015. Thereafter, the five federations had, out of their own volition, signed a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Sports and Recreation South Africa in 2015. The Memorandum of Understanding is premised on the transformation barometer with clear and concrete transformation targets and goals over the next 5 years. The Memorandum of Understanding further delineates roles and responsibilities of each party to the agreement and stipulates punitive measures to be taken in the event of non-compliance. I take this opportunity to remind you what these punitive measures entail in the event of federation failing to meet its own set transformation targets. It is within my right and prerogative to consider applying any of the following penalties. 1, I may suspend or withdraw government funding to the said federation due to non-compliance. I may withdraw government recognition of the particular federation as a national federation, whereafter I will publish such a decision in the Government Gazette. Thirdly, in essence, I may revoke the privilege of a federation to host and bid for major and mega events, international tournaments in the Republic, and withdraw recognition of the said federation. I may withdraw the federation's opportunity to be awarded national kailas via SASCOC to players who participate under the auspices of the particular federation in order to represent the Republic internationally and nationally. I may terminate the relationship and any cooperation between SRSA and the said federation due to non-compliance. Finally, I may withdraw political support and endorsements for sponsorships. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm applying these measures informed by the urgent task for the sports sector to reconstruct the fragmented and deeply discriminatory sport and recreation landscape by establishing a unified sports system that is underpinned by the principles of democracy, equity, transparency, demographic representation, access, and increased participation. The third EPG report reminds us and confirms that social reconstruction of our sport and recreation system has linkages to economic development in the context of global economies and competitiveness. This report offers respite from the suffocating prism through which we as South Africans view our past and present. At this hour of destiny, South Africa needs more than ever before sport for development and peace. This report is about the future of South African sport, provisioning and quality of opportunities to all sport-loving people of our beloved country. The Transformation Charter is the lodestar of the sport movement that draws our attention to the immediate and inevitable necessity for the sports system to transform both moral and strategic imperatives. Morally, because it is the right thing to do considering the grave injustices of the past, and strategically because of the reality that 84% of the country's under 18 old population grouping is Black, African, and only 16% is white, colored, and Indian. To ignore this strategic reality from sustainability perspective alone will be suicidal. Thus, the reasons for sport organization to transform rapidly have not only become compelling, it had become fundamental. I have applied my mind to the aforementioned reality and have taken into account the strides made by men and women within the sports movement to achieve transformation goals. I recognize and acknowledge the political will and tremendous efforts made by federations and sport bodies in the implementation of National Sport and Recreation Plan and its attendant Transformation Charter. It is not my intention to disrupt the momentum gained from the implementation of the Transformation Barometer and the global competitive edge of some federations and sports bodies. However, I'm mindful of the urgent task for federations to move with speed in the direction of providing quality of opportunities and access to the youth of our country. On the basis of the aforementioned reasons, I've therefore resolved not to revoke punitive measures that may either paralyze our federations financially or deny opportunities to our athletes to compete continentally and globally. President Gideon Sam. I've therefore resolved to revoke the privilege of Athletics South Africa, Cricket South Africa, Netball South Africa, and South African Rugby Union to host and bid for any major and mega international tournaments in the Republic of South Africa as a consequence of the aforementioned federation not meeting their own set transformation targets with immediate effect. I will review this decision when considering the results of the 2016-2017 Transformation Barometer. In respect of the South African Football Association, I'm delighted that SAFA has met its transformation targets. I will, however, issue a ministerial directive to SAFA as a consequence of their poor drive to penetrate and roll out football in former Model C schools and private schools. I'm directing all federations and sport bodies to establish transformation committees and appoint transformation officers, as cricket and rugby has done. These structures must be mainstreamed and be integrated in all business units of the federations and sport bodies. I've issued the Director General to convene a special heads of departments meeting, HEADCOM, to consider the EPG report implications on the recommendations pertaining to government. These include, but not limited to, school sport, club development, funding for sport and facilities. Ladies and gentlemen, the transformation project must succeed, as our government directed the sports sector to, among others, promote social cohesion and nation building across society through increased interaction across race and class through sport. Advocate for transformation in sport and recreation. Develop talented athletes by providing them with opportunities to excel. Support high-performance athletes to achieve success in international sport competition. Increase by 10% annually the number of citizens accessing sport and recreation activities. I end by expressing my gratitude and word of appreciation to members of the Eminent Persons Group on transformation in sport. Their invaluable contribution to the sport and recreation community. Their steady hand and unremitting endeavors places the sport movement on a progressive growth and development trajectory. The production of the third EPG transformation status report will not be possible had it not been for the diligent behind-the-scene work driven by Dr. Passon and his team. The Director General of Sport and Recreation South Africa has been a pillar of strength and support to the EPG in the last 3 years. I'm looking forward to the successful implementation of the EPG on sport transformation findings and recommendations. I believe that given the political will and support from government and all spheres and the South African Sports Confederation and Olympic Committee, SASCOC, we will achieve an accessible, adequately funded, demographically representative and equitable, democratic and non-racial sporting landscape. When I conclude, I would like to thank the outgoing chairperson of the EPG, Dr. Somadoda Fikile, and I wish him well, and at the same time thank him for availing his services to serve our country and in particular the sporting movement. We will appoint and beef up the EPG and the new chairperson in the near future. Thank you very much.